Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Commit Message podcast presented to you by the University of Windsor's very own Computer Science Society. Now, I'm your host, Zain Raza, and I do have to apologize for missing an upload there. I was a bit busy, but that stuff's probably going to be a bit rarer now. So, anyways, let's get some announcements out of the way. We are close to 100 subscribers. If you're watching this and not currently subscribed, I'd really appreciate you if you would. I know like 50% of the videos are viewed by non-subscribers, so I just want to get that out of the way. Let's try and hit that milestone so TCM can carry CSS's social a little bit more. But anyways, about today's guest, Jose. Now, most of you who are in senior level classes or just generally in senior level would know about Jose, and a lot about what we talk about with Jose is his experience maximizing his overall university experience. He did all the internships like everyone here, everyone I call on here. But the thing with Jose is that he did student exchanges, which is very, very unique to him, especially since he was bouncing around doing exchanges and internships at the same time, and he really was there out to maximize things. Now, as of today, Jose is, and I'm probably already clickbaited it in the title, Jose is currently in New York, Manhattan, I think, working as a software engineer for Google. So it's not as if though he was slacking off while he was abroad or anything like that. And if you want to see what he did, and I highly recommend that you do, please watch the entire thing. It's jam-packed with information from start to finish. A lot of information goes through this podcast, so without further ado, I'll present to you the longest ever episode of TCM with Jose. And we're back. Here we have actually an important and historical guest, actually. Not very long, historically speaking, but, in tech, this stuff goes fast, right? So, hi, Jose. How are you feeling today?
Fantastic. You?
Listen, it's a pleasure to speak with you, you graduated before I even came to university, and ever since then, I've heard tales, of of an era before, if you know. I actually interviewed, in case you didn't know, I interviewed Harshdeep on the first episode, and all he had to say was positive things about you there. So, I mean, very anticipated guest. I'm sure everyone on CS would like to hear what you have to say. So, I mean, let's get right into it, right? So, Jose, you didn't even start off with a level playing field. You got into let's say in early childhood. It was a bit difficult. Was it getting into Canada, stuff like that?
Yeah, I was born in Colombia, Cali, Colombia, and then my family tried immigrating to the U.S. That didn't work out. So then at one point, we immigrated to Canada. That
Yeah.
did work out, and
Similar
yeah.
story. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, in your early childhood, what were you raised like? Did you have special values that you held near and dear to your heart, or?
For me, I'm super fortunate that my parents did their absolute best to and they did their best. They taught me important things to be nice, personal. They're the way in Colombian culture they're always like fun, active. I always found my parents approachable. Even my parents have a fun time approaching my parents, and I guess yeah, those were values I had, just being a nice person and stuff like that.
Right. Okay.
My grades weren't exceptional. My grades weren't even good. I was probably a C, B student around there. I did do. I wasn't focused on one thing. I did a lot of sports. Played basketball, soccer. I played and I like playing sports. I ran, did a bunch of things growing up. So I wasn't really focused on grades like any student. It wasn't like my parents weren't strict on that sense. They did want me to do good, but they didn't want me to they would like to, if I did exceptional, but they weren't strict on it.
Right. Okay. Where were you growing up in Canada, generally?
I was in Kitchener.
Okay.
Yep,
Okay,
Kitchener
so
Waterloo.
you were Kitchener up until the end of high school, I'm guessing, right?
Yes, exactly.
All right, let's get into that more. So high school was a big cornerstone for you, at least I'm assuming, because you've done a lot of things in high school. Can you share some with me?
Yeah, like I did cross country all 4 years of high school.
Yeah.
I ended up making it to OFSA, which was a really big achievement for me because like like I used to run. I was good at running, and I ended up joining a team. I was okay at running. I was just a normal runner. Like if there was 400 people, I would be around 200. But I ended up joining a team. I ran every day. I ended up biking every day, and because of all my training, my team and we eventually made it to OSA, which is pretty cool
Yep.
achievement for me.
Which is
I
the Ontario tournament, right? For
Yeah, on
those who
the
don't know.
Ontario
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah.
So like I was a grade 11 student that made it to OSA, a grade 12. It's something small, but it's something I think was a huge achievement for me. Um, I I played a lot of sports. I joined the swimming team. I came last many races. I wasn't a good swimmer. Uh, it's it's funny because like at the time I joined the swim team when I was in grade 12, and the coaches thought I was going to be a very good swimmer because I was a good runner. So they put me in the A team with like all these really good swimmers against this other the big with the big other teams, and they put me on the butterfly stroke. Um, and not, yeah, obviously I ended up getting not kicked out of the team, but it was a fun experience. I had a lot of fun swimming. Um, I did. I went out a lot. Very social person. Talked to a lot of my friends. I worked a lot. I worked at Swiss Life for 2 years as a dishwasher. Studied. It was a lot of things in a short period of time. For
Right.
me, like as a high school student, like it's a small world for me. So it was really fun time for me as well.
Okay. And during high school, did you have any interests or special tendency towards technology? Would you say?
Yes, I would say I definitely well, in technology. I was always decently good with computers, and I also played a lot of video games. I was really
Common
good at Halo
story.
and Call of Duty. So I something I was really good at was actually Minecraft. Something that really appealed to me was like redstone technology. At the
Oh,
time,
okay.
like it was very like Minecraft was in early stages. I think it just landed on stable, and I think pistons just came out, not even sticky pistons, but it was still like interesting seeing everything.
Interesting. Right. Okay. A redstone background in high school. Respect. Did you take any computer science courses in high school?
Nope, no computer science courses.
Okay, so what led you towards. Before we talk about university, why did you decide computer science as your major of choice?
Well, I didn't really know what to do. Like something I was good at. Like I and in high school, I ended up taking a lot of like science math courses. So I took calculus, like math, chemistry, physics, and the math courses. Like even though my other courses weren't good, especially English, um, my math course I think calculus was the only thing. Like my math and calculus were like mid 90s or something like that. Like
Okay.
while the others were like low 70s. So I think my 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 interest for math, and I think honestly Minecraft and a lot of things like stuff like that. I played life on a chance, to be honest.
Okay.
It was
Nothing serious yet.
Yeah, nothing serious.
But
I was I just applied for a bunch of places, and yeah.
okay, and of those places, the University of Windsor was one of them. What were the
Yeah.
other places you're applying for?
So I think I applied for Guelph, which I got denied. York, which I think I got into like an open program, like I forgot what it's called, and Windsor, which was computer science, straight into computer science.
Okay. What was your mentality about choosing which university you wanted to go to? Because usually most people don't really go to the University of Windsor because they want to.
For me, like I didn't want. I remember now. York gave me liberal arts, and I didn't want to do that. Like
Okay.
computer science is like it's basically the one thing I got into.
Right.
Um,
Okay.
but yeah,
Did you
and
have any of your parents' support behind you, either financially
uh,
or just say like,
no, my parents always like they always trusted my like my opinions. I wasn't the like I was a good student. But yeah, my parents always trusted me. Like no matter what I did, they would trust me. Like they had blind trust on me. Like
okay.
it's I'm very fortunate in that sense, and it worked out.
Right, okay. So you're going to the University of Windsor, and it feels like your lackadaisical approach, I guess we could say, like playing life on a chance as you worded it, like something flipped inside your head because you, and I quote this, or paraphrasing this, something flipped because you said you wanted to make the most of your university experience, and that's,
100%.
and
Yeah.
can you explain to me what the mentality transition was like there?
Well, for me, like something like I didn't mention this during high school. I also sold like chocolate from my locker.
Right.
I like would buy and sell things off Kijiji, which I think is like a taxable thing now. Uh, s- and so like I've always had interest in money.
Okay.
So like when I went to university, I knew I'm like, wow, this is. I was going from Kitchener to Windsor. Living expenses were gonna be like I think 11K or something like that, and then university expenses at the time were 10K. I think around now it's probably 12K. Um,
Yep.
so that was 22K just first year, and then that's a lot of money. So I didn't want to pay all that money if I'm not gonna take advantage of everything.
Right.
So like I really wanted to take advantage of absolutely everything. I searched for everything I could do. Like I in the beginning I searched for scholarships, bursaries, jobs, teaching assistant jobs, research jobs. The
Yep.
university has a program where you can do like a job like that where it's compensated through the university. I just wanted to make it to. It's expensive. University is expensive in Canada and the
Right.
United States, but I want to make the best of it. That's something I like. Even though I wasn't the best student at the time, like I knew I wanted to make the best of it.
Right. So life hit you pretty hard. The reality of 22K per year was pretty scary, so it just kind of forced you into growing up a little, right?
Yeah, and yeah, like I I needed to find out like how I can succeed and stuff like that. So
Okay.
from the very beginning, I know this sounds weird, but I can even message my friends from like first year. Like I knew I'm like, hey, I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna work at Google. Like
Okay.
I wouldn't say Microsoft or Facebook or some
Wow,
other
that is
company.
crazy.
It was Google. It was Google. So I had the goal to work at this company.
Wow, okay. Okay, that's way far down the line. But yeah, okay.
Right.
That's interesting, actually. All right, so first year, before we get ahead of ourselves, our first year, do you have any, okay, you have a preconceived notion, like, that you want to work at Google, but do
hmm
you have, like, a step plan to get there? Do you know anyone who's done something similar? Someone who might have told you something?
Um, no, at the time I didn't know anyone that made it to like a big four company until I think second year of university.
Okay.
So this was just all like things that I did
Yeah.
myself.
A lot of people take CSS for advantage. This podcast,
Yeah.
other resources that even you made towards the end. This stuff wasn't so readily available, especially for the University of Windsor. God knows the
Yeah,
profs wouldn't help you that much. So,
100%. Yeah.
okay, so I like to start off with this question: what shocked you the most about university?
Um, for me, I had so much fun. I don't know what shocked me. Like, um,
Was it maybe living away from home, or
no, like I wasn't homesick. I had like even though I love my parents, for me, I love the independence too.
okay,
Um, nothing was really like crazy to me. Like my living was really simple. Like OSAP covered me, luckily, because
Yeah.
I grew up in Ontario. My like food, which would be an issue, like that would have been an issue, but part of the living expenses, you pay $2,000 per semester to like eat pizza. So yeah, nothing really shocked me. I just ate out
Okay.
and studied and went out. Yeah.
You said you had a lot of fun at university. Can you elaborate? Like, what did you do in that your first semester that you would say is fun?
So when I was in university, I had like this kind of motto where I wanted, like, I knew I was paying a lot of money, so I had to do an exceptional job for my grades, and
Yeah.
I knew like I had that TA position in my mind. I wanted to get that, or research
Yeah.
assistant. That's something I figured out that I think would really benefit me for my resume. And obviously to do that, I needed good grades at the time. But so
Yeah.
I did, I 100% focused. Like I really studied hard, but at the same time, when I wasn't studying, it was like a coin flip. I would be partying. I partied a lot during university.
Okay.
I went out 3 times a week for many years. Uh,
Wow. Okay.
and like it was like it was so much fun. Like everyone in first year of university, like when you're living in residence, like no one knows anyone, so everyone wants to make friends.
Right.
Luckily on my floor, we all like we ended up becoming good friends. I think our floor was exceptional in that. Like I noticed all the other floors were like they never talk to their flatmates, but my flatmates and I, we every day we would do something interesting.
Okay.
We ended up doing so much fun stuff. It was really fun. Like a lot of partying.
Okay. Wow. Okay. All right. So, what are you thinking about the courses going into first semester? So, yeah, you're taking intro to computer science, intro to programming, and for you, this is the first time programming since you said before you haven't taken computer science at all.
Yeah.
So, what was that like for you?
I ended up taking like Calc 1, C, like interest programming 2. At the time, like we were learning something, I forgot what the language is called. Miranda, it's I think a functional language. So just teaching you like computer science, like ideas like recursion stuff. Um, my first introduction to a terminal. Uh, it was very interesting. It was hard at the time. Like obviously in hindsight, now with the knowledge, I know it seems easy, but like it did feel hard at the time. But at the same time, like one of my skills was talking to people.
Right.
So one of my like I talked to a lot of people of my classmates. Like I talked to all the like I talked to everybody from my year. Um, we would help each other, teach each other. So like even though there was people like with way more knowledge than me, I didn't do this intentionally. It's not like I'm trying to become their friends so they can teach me. It's just naturally like one of my skills where I can just
Okay.
go to people and because we're friends, they were willing to help me. So my friend Yurko, he worked at Amazon at one point. He he helped me. My friend Jofa, he's like my best friend from university. Um, I continue to talk to him like on a weekly basis. He did have experience in computer science, so he helped me. Um, like a bunch of friends, we would help each other. It wasn't just like one way routes. Like sometimes I would grasp something easier than they would, and we would teach each other.
Okay. You leverage a lot of networking, and that's probably like a theme with your, I guess, career now. But uh, throughout school, it's important to have friends. And I keep telling people this, right? If you don't have friends that are studying the same thing you are making your life one hell of a one certain part of hell, right?
Yeah.
So make sure you either A have friends or B make friends because
Yeah.
these guys make your universe make and break your university. Honestly, it's not even the profs in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Like just my friends and I, like we really helped each other a lot. Like like we, I can, like my friends and I, we helped each other throughout our entire university career, from
Yep.
first year to like all the way to the end. We helped each other, and it's not just just in computer science, we helped each other grow. Like we're
Yep.
growing from kids to like adults. We've matured. We've done so much together, and it's very important. Like when you're 18, 17, 19, whatever, like or 20 plus, whatever age you are, it's just nice going to see your friends. Especially like that's one of the issues I've noticed with a lot of computer science people. They're a little bit more introverted, so
Yep.
they're not as open to making friends.
Right. And you don't have to be like super extrovert like Jose or like someone like me. Like you can just, like message someone these days. Like it's not like it's not like you have to go knock on people's doors asking to be friends. But yeah. Anyways, so you're completed with your first year. Do you have like any vision? I know you tried to be a TA during your first year, you or RA. All the profs ended up denying you, right?
Yep. I went to my like during first year of university, I think I went to like all the professors, every single professor. I went to like literally I knocked on all the professors during like the
Like
end
in
of first
Lambton
year.
Tower.
Yeah, yeah, and I think floor 7 or something. I think I knocked on all of them and asked if I could like be their research assistant or something. I got like
Okay.
I showed them my grades like because like I did work hard and I think my grades were like 90 plus. I think my average was 90 something.
Okay.
Um, I'm like hey like I'm working hard. Do what like I swear I work hard for you too.
Okay. And even if you didn't know it at that point, this is called networking, right? And this is important, especially after school, because no one's really going to hold your hand, especially like when you're graduated, right?
Yeah.
So, all right, we're done first year. Any important lessons learned from the first year of university?
Um, a lot of computer science concepts, like
Yep.
just a lot of uh, like not just learned. I didn't learn in like I learned a lot. Like it's weird to explain because I learned a lot of
Okay.
I took a lot of math classes, so like my problem solving skills did like at the time, even until fourth or fifth year, you're like oh why am I taking all these math classes or something like that.
Hmm.
Like it did teach me how to problem solve because I didn't really I didn't really learn to I didn't look at the answers. I tried to problem solve,
Yep.
and those skills are really useful. Like
Right.
they, yeah,
Yeah, and this is an important skill I learned, especially in university. If the answer is right there, even if it's an example, and this helped a lot for Dr. Sin's course, which we'll get into like right now, but he has a bunch of examples, right? And
yeah,
the entire solution is there. The idea is you don't actually look at any of the solution and you try and solve it by yourself. That way, when you look at the answer and after you give an earnest effort, and this works for leak code and stuff other than that, it's like a lifelong skill, I guess. When you see the answer, you realize how to answer it, not just the answer itself. And that's the clear distinction between like good problem solvers and like just people who steal answers, I guess.
yeah. Like yeah, especially nowadays, I think a lot of resources like to find the answers are like on online or something. Like you like this isn't just for Windsor. This is for like all universities. Like a lot of these,
Right.
it's hard to make up new questions, and you can find like a lot of answers online. But like it's it's really important to be able to problem solve and understand how to like do it without um yeah, it's just really important to be able to problem solve, especially in computer science. Or at least in everything, but in computer science, since you're so focused on like something super small, like it
Mhm.
requires a lot of problem solving skills, I guess.
Okay, so we move on to second year, first semester, and I always say this to everyone who's in CS: if you can make it past second year, first semester, or second year, second, it depends which way you take the courses. Basically, the semester where you have probably data structures and probably Comp 2310 theoretical foundations. If you can
Yeah,
get past that semester, you're probably in it for life.
yeah,
Is my general consensus, and
yeah.
it's really, I'm guessing, a weeder semester intentionally made. But anyways, how did you approach like second year? Because a lot of stuff started working for you at this point, right?
Yeah, like so first year I got my grades up.
Mm-hmm.
Second year, first semester, I tried to get a teaching assistant job as well, but I got denied. So
Okay.
I was able to get a second year, second semester. But yeah, like I went to hackathons. Like I saw that was a good resources to learn more.
Hmm.
I I obviously like at this time my grades were still really important. Like I got at the time I have no experience or anything like that, so I definitely need to keep my grades up. Um, and yeah, you're 100% right. In computer science, with 231 and 254 and all these different courses,
Yeah.
like it was definitely like the hardest year. But if you're right, if you pass second year of university, you are in it for the long run.
Yeah. Okay. And like, what were your experiences dealing with professors at this point? Because a lot of University of Windsor profs catch flack for like not being ultra helpful, and their course is kind of sucking. Do you have anything to say about that?
So it depends on the prof, really. Like some profs are really nice, and some profs aren't. Like they're not as good.
Yeah.
Um, like and some profs are not nice, but they teach you how to problem solve. like, but yeah, it, like you just gotta keep an eye out.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
Okay. No, that's no big deal. All right. So this is when you applied to, I think, student exchange. Can you tell me more about student exchange?
Yeah, so I applied for student exchange during my second year, I think, of second semester,
Yeah. Okay.
um, or first year, or second year, first semester. I don't remember when I applied exactly.
Yep.
It was something like I don't know how I looked, I found it. Like I don't remember what got me into it or something. I don't like. I think it was my
They
friend
usually
and
come
I.
in. They come into your classes and talk about it. Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think they did that at the time. Like, or maybe they did for the engineering faculty, but the CS faculty was small at the time. We didn't like even the engineering team didn't even have like that huge building that I forgot what it's called. Like that only became a thing I think second or third year of university.
Okay.
Um, so like by chance I looked into the exchange program, and I'm like, wow, this is such a cool opportunity. I get like to relive my first year experience with a bunch of different people in a different country and do all these really cool things. So I applied for it. I applied to go to London, and actually my friend who I
UK,
was
not Ontario, right?
yeah, the UK. So remember how I told you like about my friend? I made a really good friend of mine, and he also continues to be my friend to this day. I ended up making like lots of really good friends.
Right.
Three which I ended up living with were in CS. Ishan, Chris McMahon, and Jofa.
Okay.
They're all really good friends of mine, and we continue to be pals. So Ishan and Ishan is super like cool person, and Ishan and I we ended up applying to go to London together, and we both got accepted to the university. So we both went to London together, and it was really cool because like this time I know someone going to London, um,
Right.
and we like it was really cool. We traveled a lot together.
Okay. And this was to Essex University, right?
University of Essex. Yeah.
We'll talk more about that later, but we know second year summer is typically when co-op starts, right? This was true even back at your time.
Yep.
So, what was the application process like for you in second year? Did you only apply to co-op board positions, or did you try and make your Google dreams a reality, maybe?
Yeah, no, I definitely applied for everything.
Okay.
At the time, I applied for co-op. Like, like I think all the students in computer science, the ones I would talk to, we would all talk. We would all apply outside of like the co-op program because the co-op program is like a lot smaller. Like, and it's the same thing as like applying as an internship, except the internship you can apply anywhere in the world and you can get
Right.
it. So I applied. I think my first time interviewing with Google was actually during my second year of
Oh.
yeah. Like
Okay.
I applied for the Google position. Like out of all the big tech companies, that was the only one that interviewed me second year.
Was that
And
in a
I
Canada Google position, or was it like United States?
North America. So they put you like into a pool, and like depending on the team you find, you can go to Waterloo, you can go to the Bay Area. It depends.
All right. All right. All right. Okay.
But like I got denied the first time. yeah, like I got denied, and
Did you get to the coding part, or did you get like an OA or something and get denied from that?
I tried to do the coding, like I did the two tech questions,
Okay,
but they were a bit too hard for me, and I
okay,
didn't. I guess I didn't answer it properly,
right.
and yeah,
Okay, I mean,
it was a cool experience. Don't get me wrong. Like I that was like wow. I interviewed with Google. Like Google's there. Like like Google is giving me an interview. Why can't every single other company interview me? Like it's crazy. You think, oh, like I don't want to apply for Google. Like getting the interview at Google was one of my first interviews. Like even like I applied for a Hydro one, and I think I applied for everything, to be honest. And
yeah.
it just happened that that was one of the ones that interviewed me.
Okay. All right. How many applications do you think you spammed out? I guess in
I don't know.
that first time.
Hundreds,
Oh,
a lot of hundreds. I created a program because I one of the things I like doing is using the technology I learned, and so I created a GUI that would take in some input, put it into to just some like text
yeah.
which connected to like PDF API.
Did you make a cover
And
letter generator or something?
yeah, exactly.
I
So I
did the
use that
same thing.
cover
Oh my god.
and I use that to apply to places. So and it's a cool learning. It's just like a half day thing. It's super.
Yeah.
It's computer science really becomes fun when you can like. It's really cool when you can make something a reality. Like anything
Yeah.
you want, you can just make it. You know?
Yeah, when you bridge that gap from I don't know anything to oh I can make something, then it becomes really cool. Before that, it's a
Yeah.
lot of pain and suffering. But yeah, you
Yeah.
ended up getting a position, probably not where you wanted, but I mean it's a position anyways. You worked at the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, is that right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, as an IT position, right?
As an IT physician. So
Okay,
I'll tell you a little bit about this. I ended I ended up getting three interviews I think during second year of university. The CFIA, which is what I ended up working at, and
yeah,
two other companies. My first choice was actually not CFIA. It was an I think it was my second or third choice. It wasn't my first because the first choice was a really interesting like actual developer experience. I think it was web development. It was
okay,
like probably simple HTML, CSS, and JavaScript.
yep,
At the time, like as a second year student, that would have been an awesome first year job.
right,
And I interviewed with them, and they actually did hire me. They accepted me.
okay.
And this was through the co-op program. So, like through the co-op program, and then like I think a week before I was supposed to start, they said I couldn't work there anymore. I
What?
think they hired like this is really I think it's a rare thing to happen where like you're accepted into a co-op program and they don't want to interview like they like a week before you start they can't receive you. Um, so luckily like I contacted the co-op program like I and here's another thing like so I did the very this is very by chance. So I think I did the interview for the one company and the CFI job at the same day. The one company. Oh no, I think it was like previous days. But I interviewed for the one company first and then the CFI. I thought the one company went really well, so I'm like maybe I shouldn't do the CFI. But yeah, I did the CFI either ways because like
Okay,
you never know if you don't get the job.
right.
So I did it with them, and then I ended up getting the one job. But the CFI position also liked me. So what the co-op program did is they outreached the program because I was their first choice as well, and they like they checked if there was an extra position, told them about my position, and I got very lucky. They did end up like accepting me back. So I um, I ended up getting the CFIA
And
job very last minute.
what was on your resume this hiring cycle? You probably just had first year, some hackathons, like Hack the North maybe, uh,
Yeah,
and
just
some projects. Probably
yeah.
is that it?
I had projects, teaching assistant, research assistant, hackathons, grades.
Yep,
Um,
that's actually pretty good for a second year. Yeah.
yeah, like I was able to land almost. I'm super lucky. I was able to land a lot of these jobs. Like
Okay.
again, there's people with better grades than me.
Right.
Like maybe your generation is different than me because at the time people had better grades, but they still didn't apply for these programs, or maybe they didn't need the program. Where I did apply for the research assistant job. I got very lucky with the research assistant job too.
Yep.
I can actually tell you about that before we forget. So remember how I told you first year I went to every single professor?
Yep.
They all denied me, but one of them remembered me. Dr. Robert Kent, a
Yep.
really cool person from VC. He remembered me, so I went again for second year, and he's like, "Aren't you that student that came here last year?" And he's like, "Yeah." So my first features assistant job was with Dr. Kent, and I'm very fortunate for him remembering, and
And
that's
that's
how I
an
was able
interesting the trend too, because you did the same thing with Google basically. A few years later, it was persistence. It wasn't like they denied me. I'm never gonna do this again. That kind
Yeah.
of mentality only hurts you, right? And I mean, you ended
hmm
up getting the research assistantship as well as Google, which we'll talk about later. Uh, and your second year summer, right? You finished like all your second year courses, and you're an IT specialist, I guess. You probably just answered tickets, right? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was definitely like I did ITM like I definitely for me like everyone has a different life. Maybe some people like IT and everyone has different goals and stuff. But for myself, I definitely like I cannot do IT.
That was in person too. This was like before like remote was so popular, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I was just super bored in my cubicle. Um
This sounds so
like
typical.
yeah, like I was like it wasn't even like any I don't think I did any programming or maybe I created a script. But this maybe like the script I did wasn't because I was told to do the script. It's because I wanted to like maybe automate my job or something. um but yeah, like it's just fixing like oh my computer's not turning on. Like I would just go to the desk, turn it on and off again. Something super simple.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
The off and on again. True. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So you decided from that semester of doing IT that you didn't want to do IT ever again.
hmm
Did that change any of your tactics going into your third year?
I definitely didn't apply for IT jobs. Like well, that type of IT jobs. I probably applied to IT jobs that involve programming. Um, I it didn't it didn't uh like yeah it's just like I like the internship program is a really good the co-op slash internship program. This was a co-op. Is a really good opportunity to like learn what you want to do. Maybe some
Okay.
people do IT and like oh I want to do that, but
Yeah.
for me that wasn't the case.
Yeah. I've interviewed several people that used co-op to figure out what they really didn't want to do. So it's an interesting tactic. A lot of people like subconsciously employ. It's not like I want to do this job to figure out whether I like it or not. A lot of people
Yeah.
have assumed they'll like it, and then like a couple of weeks later, like I gotta leave. Okay, so third year comes, and you're actually at or was it Essex University?
Yeah.
Okay, so what were you doing there? Oh, explain to me what was happening.
Um, so I was so Essex was a really good choice because they had I specialized in AI and they had some cool AI program classes.
Okay,
One of them was like I forgot what the AI courses were like, but like they were offered there and they were the equivalent to like fourth year AI courses at Windsor.
okay,
Um, so that's one reason that I liked Essex, and so I took the AI courses, but I also took two other courses that like were not offered at Windsor. I think one was like art history of London or something like that, where you
okay,
just go to different places in London and learn about the art history. Like so, I would go to museums and stuff.
okay.
Um,
That's cool.
yeah.
Right.
Um, like
Did you like?
sorry.
I mean, like, yeah. Did you just like? Were you on the residence? I'm kind of confused. I'm trying to like picture this.
So I'll explain my entire university program from start to finish. Sorry, my exchange program. So
Okay.
I applied for exchange, and luckily I got into my first choice which was Essex.
Okay.
Um, the University of Essex was in England. It had computer science programs which I wanted to take. It was something that seemed appealing to me. Um, so I went to I applied for this and I got it. And I like obviously like financially I need to think about everything. So I was working the IT job I was telling you about. I was also teaching assistant job and research assistant job.
Yeah.
So I was doing all these different jobs and I would save up for this trip. And on top of that, I applied for like the OSAP program, which gives you OSAP gives you extra, like if you're an Ontario like resident, you can apply for OSAP, and
Yep.
OSAP sees that like before they see like, oh, my round trip from Waterloo to Windsor was $50 in gas, so they'll give you money depending on how big the round trip. But now the round trip can be something crazy, like it can be like 1,500 depending, like you could like, depending on your habits, you know. So they OSAP gave me more money on that, and because OSAP gives you more money, there's a higher chance to give you a higher bursary percentage, which worked to my advantage. I got higher bursary, and bursary is like money given by the government based on like financial need.
Yeah.
I was also more. I also got scholarships from the University of Windsor, with like I think it was like a student exchange scholarship or a scholarship from CSS or something like that, which helped me like because like even though scholarships are merit based, I think it gave me a higher chance because I also needed the money a little bit more. And I also I like not only did I get OSAP money, I got the University of Windsor money, and I got money from the University of Essex. I applied for their scholarships and bursaries for exchange students too.
You're hustling them.
Oh, sorry?
You're hustling them.
Of course, and it really worked out. Like I ended up getting paid, I think, or like and it definitely ended up being cheaper in my case to go on exchange, and live it up, and then just stay at Windsor because I obviously I got all this different money, and then on the same time Essex gave me money, and at the time I think it was £4,400, which at the time was like 7,000 CAD.
Okay, that's
so those 7,000 CAD, like obviously my living expenses are super small. Like I didn't get into residence, so I looked for the cheapest place by residence, and it ended up being like where all the exchange students that didn't get residence went as well. So like now I have like all this money, and I can travel. Like now like I can go out. I obviously like I didn't tell anybody about the money, like because I went to the University of Essex the first day. They like, here's the money. They gave it to me in cash. They gave me like this huge stack. So I think I put it in my jacket right here because it was really cold. I went home and hid it underneath my bed.
Oh my god.
And I would always carry like a little bit of cash with me, and that's how it really helped me out. Like exchange, like I got paid to do it, and it was really cool. That's another thing I forgot to mention first and second year. One of the things I did was I created like a document, like an 8-10 page document by my that would update every year, like with my skills, why I need money, and a bunch of different circumstances. And like I would use this document to apply for basically every single scholarship or bursary through like the University of Windsor program. I also applied for external scholarships and everything. And I would use the same tactic every single year. And because of this tactic, every year I ended up getting a bit of bursary or scholarship money.
Right. And while you might be in debt, and I know you're pretty public with your debt, you're lessening it, right? Even before like you go out and work. That was the mindset you had.
Well, the debt, I wasn't lessening it because I still wanted to live it up. Like I'm in computer science, and obviously at this point, like it's kind of common. Everyone knows, like if you land a Big Four job, you're gonna get a 6-figure job in the U.S. or the States. So my goal wasn't to like starve myself to I'm gonna exchange. I wanna use this money, but at the same time, I did use my investments. Oh, and this is another thing I forgot to mention.
Right.
During my first year of university, I did a lot of I did a lot of paper trading. I created a paper trading account with my friend Jofa, which I mentioned previously, and we traded fake dollars in the stock market. And then with like the money I gained from my jobs, like every single job, I hustled a lot of jobs when I wasn't studying, even in the summer. I invested a lot of that money. Like I think by the time second year, I went pretty deep into a company called TGC. It IPO'd around like less than $1. I bought it around 260 or 250, and within a year, like obviously now like the ticker is weed. It went up to $50 at one point. I didn't sell it at 50, but like I invested all the money I had, and that helped me also fund my exchange experience.
Okay. Wild adventure. Not a typical university experience, but yeah.
Yeah, we did like So I have a lot of money. I think I had like 20 plus thousand or 26,000, around 25 plus. Um, and I went out a lot. I had to liquidate all of my assets.
Okay.
Those experiences I had, like, again, I'm coming from a very lucky position where I got super lucky with the companies I invested in. I like not everyone's gonna be in a fortunate situation. Um, but yeah, like it worked out to me, and I went out. I went out often, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure, was it for Essex or maybe it was for the other one? But you had a video that showed all that you did or all the important stuff. I
Yeah, I created a video for I think the both of them. Both of them were exceptional experiences. I like for the time in London. I think I went to like 15 different countries. Obviously, this was my second time in Europe, uh, and I'm having the time of my life because I'm traveling with my friends I made from exchange. It's such a cool experience. I made friends like around the world, which I still talk to today. I met up with some this year. I met up like I have German friends, like Italian, Spanish,
crazy.
Mexican, Uruguayans, Koreans. And they're still my friends. And like for example, I have my Norwegian friend and my one of my German friends. They're coming to visit me next month. And
Okay.
my other friend, I met with my friend from Italy not too long ago, and I met with another friend from the States and Germany in Rome, and like these connections I made, like like we're really good friends to this day. So like you're going to a separate country and everyone wants to make a friend. So I like we're studying together and at the same time we're like going out so much. We like not only partying but traveling together, which is a really cool experience for me.
Yeah. Okay. And I might want to add in here. There's an important story that I haven't hit on yet. Right. So, the Computer Science Society. This student organization, which is huge now, wasn't so big back in the day when you were a student. It was you and Eric who like kind of revived it, right?
So, computer science society. There's before my time. There was I forgot to mention this. Like, my friend Will, last name is Roder. He was my TA for second year of university. Obviously, I talked to Will, and he was in CSS, I think. So Will, he was one of the few students at the time. Like he interned, I think, at Amazon and Microsoft, which was basically unheard of. So
Yeah.
like I think I found this out afterwards, and ended up becoming a friend of mine. He was in CSS. He told me about like we he was also big into investing. He's probably super rich now, about I guess, but he's a
Okay.
smart guy. He's a really fun guy. He's the money isn't so important. It's just the fact that we would leech off each other. Obviously, he was like my mentor at the time. He's my TA, but he was a really fun guy. Another person that was really important, which was David Valo and Quinn Perfetto. They were a year older than me,
Okay.
and they were the president and vice president of the CS club. And those two people made it. They also interned at Google, and they're still working at Google. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, like for example, Quinn and David they created a program which was called Problems of the Week, which basically they would create like a data structures and algorithms question, like
Yep.
a lead code medium question, and you like before it was a lead code basically, but for Windsor students, and if
Okay.
you did it, you get like a I don't know a star or something. But it
Okay.
was really good practice for everybody, like, and that's something they did. Like they didn't have to do this. They went out of their way to create a program that was lead code style.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah. And how many students would you say were in CSS at the time?
it was I think probably like I don't know, it was eight. Like it was like, but they weren't so like most people weren't as involved as them, you know.
Yeah.
Like they went out of their way to create those programs, which I've
Yep.
thanked them before. Like I met up with them a few years ago. I'm like, hey man, thanks so much for like going out of your way to
Yeah.
create this program. Like obviously it like it was it's nice to tell them. It's very like when you
Yep.
say thank you, they appreciate it, and maybe they'll continue in the future.
Right. Okay. So, Yeah, this is like before like the Discord blew up and like there's like more than 1,000 members today. So
Yeah.
it's interesting to hear about what it used to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
Yeah. All right. So at third year, second semester, or like towards the start of fourth year, you ended up landing a position at Nokia as an intern, right? Tell me
yep.
more about that. How was that hiring cycle like? How many applications did you make? Where were they? How many interviews you got? Stuff like that.
So Nokia was it was a co-op. It wasn't an internship. It was one of the like I remember the big co-ops at the time was Hydra One, Nokia, I think BlackBerry,
Yep.
and like this like nuclear place in Vancouver, I think.
Yeah.
They were pretty big jobs. So I the one problem with like BlackBerry, Hydra One, and a lot of these companies is like they have a huge application process. You have to do for each position.
Yeah, it's insane. You have to cover letter, resume, plus your a transcript for every position. Not only that, you have to go if you did that on co-op, you also have to do that on their website for every position you apply to. And it's still true
Literally,
today.
it's a lot of work. You're applying for you're it's each application is a long
Yeah.
process
There's
and
like 30 plus applications too. Like
yeah. So I applied for the Nokia positions and I got interviewed, um, and I was able to land the job. That
okay.
like it was no there was no lead coding programming. It was I think the person interviewed me by like telling me about a project that I've created. I don't know what it was.
Okay.
I don't remember to be honest.
You explained the project though.
I think so. I think that was
Okay.
the interview, or I just had to like talk about my experiences and stuff like that. I don't really remember at this point. Sorry.
Okay. That's no big deal. We already have had someone who's interned at Nokia talk about it before. So if you want to go back to episode 3 with Craig. Okay. So, what did you learn from Nokia? Because this is your actual first software development position. So
Yeah.
like, you probably learned a lot about code quality, version control, all stuff that kind of hits you when you hit like actual corporation that programs.
Yeah, like for me, I was doing a lot of programming in Bash. Like I was creating scripts to like automate jobs.
Okay.
I didn't really deal with version control. I do know about version control through like hackathons and stuff like
Yeah.
that. But like I learned my job was networking, like um so I had to learn about like the internet protocols like TCP, UDP, learning about how
Yeah.
networking traffics and stuff like that. I created a few different programs, but that was about my program. I didn't really deal with like anything crazy like Google was my first like huge like code reviews
Okay.
deep
Did you apply to Google in this cycle, by the way?
I applied every cycle. I applied I applied I think it was
Okay, so one
everywhere.
sec.
Yeah.
When you say you applied, do you mean like you went on Google, like careers page, you applied, put in a cover letter, and did you like email the recruiter after too? Like,
No, I did not. Actually, maybe I did email for Google because I already had the recruiter's name. But most of the time, I didn't have recruiter's name.
okay,
Now with like with the knowledge I have now, that's definitely what I would do now. Like I would go on LinkedIn and just probably message recruiters for jobs I'm really interested in.
okay,
Um, that's probably what I would do
okay.
right now. Like because a lot of recruiters want to see that you like you're willing to like message them. You know.
Especially with the internships or co-ops, right? Because like they're not really hiring you because you know how to code. Especially like it's weird because you definitely need to know how to code to get there, but it's not like they're expecting some crazy level. They're really expecting very low because from what my like manager told me, like it's kind of a plus that you know how to code. The number one thing we were looking for was like kind of passion, right? That you're like interested in coding. Is that your experience?
Yeah, I'll say so. Like, that you're interested in coding. Yeah, you like it depends on the position. Like, if you're getting a software engineering internship,
Yeah.
I do expect you to like know how to code like to some extent.
Yeah.
Maybe obviously not create like full like application that do crazy things with the database and connects it. But like I expect you to understand the like concepts, and I think you learn these concepts through like your like computer science programs. Like you don't really learn SQL and like the database course, but
Yeah.
you understand the concept and you can probably like apply it using your problem solving skills that you gain like from 231 and 454.
Okay.
You know?
Did you end up getting that interview from Google this time around or no?
Um, not before Nokia.
Okay.
I not before Nokia.
Okay.
I
So.
I did interview with other companies though.
Okay.
I so at this point my resume has been built up. I I like the moment I think I got Nokia, I started applying for new jobs because I can now put Nokia as my
Leverage it. Yeah.
yeah exactly I can leverage it. So I started applying for like more companies because my my goal was to like gain as much internship experience as possible with different companies. I ended up doing an internship that was 8 months with Nokia, but like for example, I interviewed with I'll tell you the companies I interviewed. Facebook. I got denied. Every single one denied me. Facebook, Microsoft, Airbnb, Pinterest, Palantir.
Man, it sounds like such a tragedy now. Now that you're talking about it. Man.
No, like it's. I'm learning the internships. I'm
Okay.
getting the practice. I'm learning how to talk. Like how to the like. I think because of the experiences, I was able to pass my Googles.
Okay.
Like
So you didn't take it as a loss actually when you did like lose the internship, I guess.
no, and even if I don't get an internship, like let's say like I graduate and I didn't get the internship, I still got the rest of my life. Like I still got first, like I still got like my, like like after you graduate, you will gain like obviously the internship experience help, but like you once you graduate, you can continue growing. It doesn't stop there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people think like I need an internship. I've seen plenty of people who had zero internships get like a full time career,
Yeah.
even in the United States. Like, it's really one big open door in how you market yourself, right? So
Yep.
yeah, you had 8 months at Nokia, and here's
I
okay.
sorry, I forgot to mention something else. I also like I also like I learned about different things, and one of the things I almost got was this research position in Brazil. I forgot what the program is called, but basically you research in a different country, and and I thought that was a really cool experience. Obviously, like it didn't go through, but I almost did 4 months at Brazil or something. I forgot the reason it didn't go through. Like Kati was helping me set up everything, and I forgot the reason. It was probably like something I probably forgot to follow up or something.
There's an interesting component here that you talked about in your student guide later on, but we kind of grazed over here. You actually had pretty decent connections with even the CS department, right? Like, you knew some profs, and especially quite critically, even you knew like the secretaries, probably even the
Yeah.
co-op office, right? Can you tell me more about that?
So I definitely like for example I'm pretty sure Margaret's still there. Margaret's
Yep.
like and a bunch of the secretaries
Yeah.
and professors, they do want the best for you, like, and it might not seem like it, they have their knowledge, like they definitely, like, for a lot of them they haven't developed in a while, but they understand the concept and they've been teaching it for so many years that some like they would try their best to give you great experiences. For I Margaret was always looking out for me. She was super nice. I think she always looked up for everyone.
Yeah.
Kopti at the time, I still think is the head, like director of CS.
Yeah, he
Uh,
is.
yeah,
Yeah.
Dr. Kent. There was a new professor at the time that was really nice. I forgot name. He was from Egypt, I think. He was a cybersecurity professor. He was new. I don't know
Nagam?
if he's still, sorry. No,
Nagam?
not the guy. I think I forgot his name. He was cybersecurity. But he was a very nice professor. He definitely sounded like he knew. I never had him as a professor, but he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. So
Samet?
all these professors, they're here to help you, just being nice goes a long ways. And if they can't help you, like you gotta like create your own way. Like we're luckily in computer science, like even if the professors are here to help you, but even if they don't help you or they can't help you for some reason, there's millions of resources that could help you.
Okay. All right. And now you go into your second student exchange program, and this one's actually very, very interesting because if you tell someone I went to a women's university as a student exchange, you'd probably get a look. So explain to me how you got into. I'm gonna butcher the name. Ewa Women's University in Seoul, Korea, right?
Exactly. So Michelle, which is the head of the exchange program, is super super nice. If you ever get the chance to talk to Michelle, she wants you to go on exchange and she will do the best that's possible. Like, if you show enthusiasm. So I got super lucky that I didn't take a single elective until like my second last semester of university.
Yeah.
So I was in a very lucky position where immediately after my Nokia internship, literally I finished on Friday, and then like my parents weren't even in the country, so I go back to Kitchener with a Kijiji car, and then my friend drives us to the airport, and then I fly to Korea. Oh, and yeah, like, it was so I studied. So Michelle helped me out with getting this. Like I got to Ewha Women's University. Ewha Women's University is one of the biggest universities in the world that is only for women, and they accept male exchange students. Granted, I didn't apply to this place because it's a women's university. I was really interested in going to Asia, and our university has partnerships at the time with a Japanese university, which I think was by Kyoto, but like north in a smaller city.
Okay.
A Chinese university, but they didn't have any computer science classes. And then there was the Korean one, which had computer science classes. So like even though I had all electives, I still took computer science courses. And I also took some other courses. So I studied at Ewha Women's University. This time around, I didn't get any bursaries from the university. I barely missed it. My grades at this point had dropped quite significantly. And I think the scholarship like was 83 and I had like an 82. I was really close to getting it. But I didn't get the money from EWA, but I was still able to like travel a lot. I had the Nokia job. I had the Nokia money.
Yeah.
And this time around I didn't travel as much. I did end up going to Japan, but I stayed mostly in Seoul. And that's something I figured out as I've grown. Instead of like going to different countries all in like one set, I like to like dedicate like 4 weeks towards like getting to know a country, like the Philippines or something, you know, like, and that like I'm going on a huge vacation in months. That's going to the Philippines.
Oh.
I'm not going to different countries. I just want to understand the country better. That's how I travel now. So
true global
I
citizen,
went.
by the way.
Sorry?
You're a true global citizen, by the way.
Yeah, I went to Ewha Women's University. I took a VR AR class, and it's funny. I go to University of Windsor, and in my VR AR class there was a group activity which was worth like 50% of our mark, and I had like there's this university called like Singapore University or something like that. SAE, I forgot what it's the university in Singapore, and it's like referred as the best university in Asia sometimes. And two of my classmates were from that university, and then another classmate of mine was from like the best university in Denmark, and they didn't know how to program. I did the entire project myself.
What?
They didn't help me at all. Like they didn't even know like how to version control systems. It ended up being easier if I just did the project myself. And this is something I've noticed. Like I went to a hackathon at Harvard.
Make Harvard, probably.
Exactly, and my Harvard, like one of them was from Cambridge, and you think they'd know how to program, but they're like they probably know how to at the time I guess I'm learning this as I grow, but Cambridge, I guess, or he was a master's student, and I guess because he was master's, he's more focused on research, so it's a different side of the brain, and obviously I'm not as good as research, but like this is something you learn. Like for me, I want to do software engineering. I want to apply the sciences that I've learned. And maybe other people are more interested in research. So for me, like, so yeah, like in Korea, I did this course by myself. I also like for example, at the time, Google Google I forgot to call slides was like I created my own Google slides. Well, I didn't create it. I just used this API and created a slideshow instead of
Okay.
using a normal presentation.
Yeah.
Um, and like obviously my classmates like, why are you doing this? I'm like, it's funny, why not? You know.
Okay.
And and something I found this to this day like something super memorable, and I'm gonna have it to the rest of my life is I like one day like in Korea, you check the quality of the air to see how good the air is, right? So there was one day where the air was like really bad.
Okay.
It's called yellow dust, and it came from like China due to some wind. Um, so the sky was literally yellow, and to me this is a super foreign experience. Like the sky is yellow, like not because of sand, but because of like pollution and stuff. Um, so
That's
the sky
insane.
was yellow. I have my mask. It was super like that's something like that I never thought about. Like to this day, it's still crazy. But the crazy part for me was I I I took one course called North Korean Culture and Society, where they
Whoa.
teach about on like North Korea, and it was super interesting, super good elective. But the part I was most excited for was there was this North Korean guy that came to my class, and he told about his experiences. So the sky was yellow, and this guy from North Korea is coming to my class, and I'm at a women's university. Um,
That is so insane.
yeah, so like, and all my classmates who were are super shy. Like in Korea, they're a lot more shy than and I guess I'm just extroverted compared to a lot
Yeah.
of Koreans. So like I would give him the chance to like obviously the guy spoke about his experiences, which is absolutely insane. It was like it's super insane. Um, and then I like after his presentation, I would go to my professor. My professor would translate to him, and then he would talk to the professor and talk to me. And yeah, like it was really like I had like not
So,
a
did you
I
understand the presentation, or were you just looking at the pictures like, I get it, kind of?
no. So this class was in English, so the professor would just translate everything
Okay.
the North Korean would say. So like basically, he was born in North Korea. Then he had to do his 20 years of mandatory military service
20
in the
years. That's
Yep.
insane.
And then like eventually after 20 years he had to leave the capital. So he ended up just like going through the north, which is like very dangerous. And then he went all the way like through China, mainland
He
China,
went
made it to Hong
around
Kong.
to South Korea.
That that's the normal way a lot of like North they don't go through the militarized zone, demilitarized.
Okay.
And he talked about experiences like he receives a lot of racism towards them, and like because like for example like North Korea and South Korea, the war was in like 1953. So like a lot of the for example when Germany like when the wall was broken, the family connection was still there, so like the
Yep.
country could really unify really well. But with Korea, like it was so long ago that even like if you had family, like they probably like 90 or passed away. You know, like there's no longer. So he does receive a lot of racism, and like due to the culture, like in North Korea, you could just go to any home because they didn't. I don't think they had laws or something. There's things that he misses, and yeah, and I love that course, and he was really interested in me because I was at a women's university. Yeah.
That's funny. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And here's the big career-defining move here. Because right after this, you landed it right. You got the software engineering internship out in the West Coast of all places. So like in the
Mhm.
Bay Area. Tell me what that was like. That application cycle.
So I applied for Google while my first semester of Nokia, very early, and I applied almost a year before or something.
Yep.
I passed the technicals, which I was super happy about. But the
Okay.
hard part for me was landing the host matching. Like basically, the way Google does it is do your technicals, and then you go into a pool, and then in that pool, you're a bunch of interns that passed the technical, and you just have to find a team that wants to continue with you. Like,
Wait, can you just like not match with a team and then you're just out?
yeah, exactly. So I was in host match. Like, I was in host matching. I was supposed to do my internship. It really worked out. Like, in like I applied for from September to December, so at the time I was in Korea. But I didn't get any single host matching interview. So like, luckily my interviewer was able to postpone it to the next 4 months, and I didn't get a single interview until December. I got one interview in like I think 8 months or something. One interview. Like, I was in the pool for that long, um, and it was lucky because I was learning this new technology called Flutter, and
Yeah,
I was really into money. And I put that on my
Flutter.
resume. So like, it was really rare for someone to like have any knowledge with new technology was.
Yep.
I guess so rare that no jobs was looking for it. This person saw that I was super interested. My interview was like at 3 in the morning because I did it when I was in Korea, um,
Yeah.
and I was chosen, and like my internship starts 3 weeks from now. Um, and this was such a cool experience for me. But at the time, I'm super broke because I'm in Korea. I have no money. Like, I even got a loan from my friends that I made in Korea.
Wow.
So they gave me, like, I ended up I ended up dating a girl. She's still my girlfriend. We've been dating for 4 years. She gave me some money. My other friend from Denmark gave me some money. Like, it's imagine the faith someone has to have you to lend you like 1,000 euros or something like that you've only met less than a few months, and in a few months I might never see them again. They lent me the money, and with that money I was able to go back to Canada. I was in Canada. I needed to get my visa ASAP. My visa landed on Sunday, so I flew on Sunday. I got some Airbnb, and then my job started on Monday.
You got the
Uh,
J1 from Google, right? That's
yeah, I got the
probably
J1.
okay. They don't
Yeah.
have the like the TN loophole that Tesla does or whatever.
No, but I got and like my first month there, I was so lucky too because it's really rare for like two University of Windsor students to get an internship at the same time. So Eric also lands. I'm like, wow, that's so cool. I messaged him. Like, at this point, I haven't even been at the university for like a year and a half because I did my exchange. Then I go 1 semester. Then I go to Nokia for 8 months. Then I
Yeah.
go to, then I go to Korea, and then immediately I go to my internship, and so I'm doing my internship. I'm absolutely broke. My first paycheck, like but at the same time I wanted to travel. So Eric, my other friend that's at Facebook now, and we ended up renting a car. We were all really broke students, super, we were so broke. And like I've done this many times at this point. We ended up, the three of us, sleeping in a small like hatchback car. Like, I ended up just sleeping in the back, my for like 2 nights, and they just pulled their chairs back, and we went to Death Valley and just enjoyed it. And then once we got our paycheck, we met some friends, had to
Oh,
pay some rent, and I I I started investing again and everything.
you're roboting out in case you can't hear.
Oh, sorry.
Uh, maybe turn off the webcam. See if that works.
Yeah. I'm trying. Hey,
Nah, it's. Can you hear me fine?
I hear you fine.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh, what? Talk again?
Hey, can you hear me
Oh
now?
yeah. Okay, now it's fine. Turn on your
Sorry.
webcam and see if that works. Don't worry, it'll be cut out anyway. This isn't live or anything.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You have your webcam on?
yeah, let me turn it on then. So can you hear me now?
Yeah. I can. You're fine.
So yeah, the three of us, and the friend I made from Facebook was actually a friend that I made at Nokia, but he wasn't my friend from Nokia. He was a friend of a friend that that was like driving back to Kitchener because he, like, my friend was from Waterloo and his friend was from Waterloo, and he was going back to Waterloo, and I lived in Kitchener. So I'm like, I messaged him, I'm like, hey, I saw you're going. So, like, me and all of his friends, we never met each other. We, like, all Waterloo students, we ended up going to Waterloo, and it's really cool. Like, this friend from Death Valley, Eric, my friend from the guy from Facebook. I'm gonna try to see him this weekend. He's also in New York City, so he still ends up being a friend of mine. It's just weird how life plays.
Yeah, that's weird.
No.
Small world, huh?
Yeah. Oh, and something else I forgot to mention was when we went to Death Valley for just the weekend. It was a long drive in the small car. We slept in the car, and then it was the most beautiful sky I've ever seen. But the craziest part was it was Eric, my friend, and I, and we were in the middle of Death Valley doing a hike, and no one's around. Absolutely no one's around. And then all of a sudden, all these students are there. Like we just turned around the corner, and pure coincidence. My friend, the guy from Waterloo, he knows all of them. They're all Waterloo students. And
What?
Eric and I are like, wow, like all these people from literally Canada are in the middle of Death Valley, and it's just all of us are students, and we're just trying to have a fun time. And that was crazy for all of us. And yeah, we ended up like going out with them. It was a cool experience. Like the internship, I learned like we sorry so
Yeah.
like I go back and I learned a lot about like I didn't do any continuous integration or anything, but I did do a lot of testing,
Yeah.
obviously, code reviews, a
This
lot of
stuff hits you
development.
hard.
Yeah. Obviously, I had my sprint planning and everything. Um, it was really cool. Like the project I was a Flutter developer. I gained a lot of experience from that job. Um, and at the same time, like I was in the Bay Area, like with other students, and like at the same time, I'm taking 454 and some other courses. I was still a full time student because it was supposed to be my last year of university. Um, so I couldn't stop like the I couldn't stop both of them. I didn't want to delay a year, but I didn't want to lose the internship, so I did both of them.
Yeah.
And what I ended up having to do was, luckily, the midterms for 454 were on the weekend. So like right after work on Friday, I would take an Uber to the airport in San Francisco, fly to Detroit, Uber, like take a taxi to Windsor, do my exam, absolutely no sleep because of the time difference. Do like, and then literally like collapse because I didn't sleep. Go back and then fly back to San Francisco and continue working, continue studying, and continue partying. It was again like my philosophy is like work hard, study hard. So I do take that to quite a stance, but like because like I passed all my courses and like I did really well in 454. Got well not really well. I got like 70s, but good enough. I think I got 68, not 70s, but
Okay.
good enough, right? I
That's
like
fine.
this wasn't even remote. It's like this is I was doing remote before it was cool, you know, like um and obviously I have my other courses. I have my internship. I have to go out. Well, I don't have to, but it's part of my philosophy. Um, and like just I met so many cool people. I ended up going to the Facebook campus. I met like obviously like I thought the Bay Area would have been more central. It was my first time going to the Bay. It's more suburban, like super expensive suburbia.
Yeah.
It was still a pretty cool experience because like it's just a lot of tech. Like I had a great time. But I like it's like I like San Francisco, but not the Bay Area.
You know, at this
So
point, I'm surprised you didn't become like the day in the life YouTuber. Like, sounds
I
like all the stuff you did. Like, sounds like great on camera.
yeah, I did. I've been tempted, but that's a lot of work. And again, my work-life balance. I really like. I thought of doing it. It's something in the back of my mind. I sometimes want to, sometimes don't. Um, but like yeah, like back to the internship. I met people from different companies. Eric and I ended up meeting people from Tesla, SpaceX. Um, I think something really cool is like something that I found really funny was we met people that were interning at Tinder. That's pretty funny.
That's
And it
interesting.
just the Bay Area, like you literally, it's just tech. It's so much tech. Everyone has their
Company
like
badge.
their sweater, their hiking sweater, because hiking's such a big thing over there. But yeah, if you get the opportunity to go, obviously go, but make sure like oh, and like at the same time, I forgot to mention this. I remember I told you I was super broke. I was still broke. So I ended up messaging like this intern Google group to see if anybody wants to live in the same room with me because that's something I did throughout university.
Yeah.
And luckily, one of my friends, like, he's like, yeah, let's be roommates. We were roommates. He was from Alabama, and
Wow, that is insane.
and
Some
we
kid
ended
in
up,
Alabama made it.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, he was exactly the same situation. It's like no one from like my university ever makes it to Google. So we were, and he's super social person. He also got the job at Google. Um, and and yeah, like we ended up splitting our like the price. So like in the Bay Area, it's obviously super expensive. We got like this super sweet deal. Like it was like 50 something percent off or 60. Like it was the first time it was being rented out. At the same time, we bought like this $60 mattress. I think we found through Craigslist or something. We put it in the bed. That was my bed. He got the bed, and that's how we managed the 3 months there.
Okay. And what
Yeah.
was Google's return offer process like? Because you ended up taking it. So is it like evaluated on performance, or how was that?
So at the time, and I think it's probably still the same. If you do two internships and your performance, so the perfect your performance reviews, um, every internship you do, you get a review from your host. They will give you like does not meet expectation, meets expectation, meets expectation, um, strongly exceeds expectation, or superb. Uh, and if you get like good reviews, then it counts as a interview. So like I got good reviews on my internship. Like, I did a good job, and that counted as two like hire like I two hires basically. And I still need like the hiring process for interns are four technical interviews. So technically, like through the internship, I got two, but afterwards I also had to do two additional. And these are a little bit more. These are a little harder than the internship ones.
Yeah,
So I
easy, medium is typically internship, right?
yeah, I would say this was like closer to hard. But like again, like at the time I was doing 454 my internship. Like 454 does translate to it. Like I can express myself pretty easily. Like my thinking process and stuff, and 454 teaches you how to problem solve. So I just um I made my thing into a class because like they were telling me like, oh, this is something. I'm like, oh, this is a good representation of a class. And then I'm like, oh, but this, and I just explain myself, modularize, told them like root force solution versus something. Maybe if it's the algorithm, they thought of things, you know.
Yeah, okay.
And I did, I guess, barely well enough to get like to pass those technicals, and then after those technicals, you had to find a team. Like so, I passed the technicals, which I was super happy about. And at this point, I need to find a team.
Do you
And
pick a location with the team, or does the team kind of like...
oh yeah, you do choose a location. So my location of my very first location was Zurich. I have family in Zurich. I like it's such a nice country.
Like Ireland?
Well, Switzerland. Sorry, Zurich is in Switzerland.
Okay.
And outside of the U.S., Switzerland is the only country that's gonna pay you the same as the U.S. like salaries.
Okay.
The problem with me was, and this is a problem for any like if you're not a European Union citizen or like Schengen, and you don't have 2 years of experience, like my internships don't count, then you can't go straight to Switzerland after graduating. So Google's like, you can't choose that as your location. It's not it's like you can't sponsor your visa. So then I was recommended three places, and I needed to choose two, like where I would like to work. They recommended me Munich, Singapore, and Waterloo, and I didn't want to stay in Waterloo, so I chose Singapore and Munich.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you didn't even start off with living in Manhattan. You were out in Munich, were you?
Yep. My team. There was a good chance I could have gone to Singapore, but I ended up getting interviewed for a Munich position, and very coincidental. Like it's something that just nailed the spot. Like Flutter development. I really wanted to work on Flutter. This time, like the job was working on the like actual framework, which was a cool experience. And it was in Munich, awesome like place. Like it's I like Munich for like everyone has their personalities. Munich is a great place if you want to grow a family or something. But for me, I didn't want to Munich long term, so I ended up transitioning to New York City after I got my full offer.
Okay, so I mean, this is kind of a personal question. You can choose to answer it, or you can just kind of like be like, nah, I don't want to answer this. So you do have a longtime girlfriend at this point, right?
Yeah.
Are you making decisions based on like trying to be with her or no?
Well, at the same time, like it was both. Like Munich, I also had Singapore, but Munich like was nice because my girlfriend she lives in France, so if I go to Munich, she could come visit me way easier.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess it was like all in the back of my mind, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Uh, and all right. So how long were you in Munich for? Because it's been like a couple of years, and now you're
Yeah.
obviously not in Munich, right? So
So I landed the job in Munich, and my job was like a software engineering job. I was a front end developer, and I had to work on I work on the material. So material is the design system. It's a very popular design system, and I had to work on the design system for Flutter. Since material is like the main design system for Flutter, then like anytime you create a Flutter app, you import material, and you're basically which is like that my team creates. Sorry, what was the question?
at what point were you transferred out of Munich? Like how?
Oh, I try. So I was in Munich, and then I transferred. I tried to start the transfer February. I wanted to move to New York City. New York City. I did 2 business trips. I did 3 business trips actually. So I joined in September. I did, and then in October I went to business. It was my first business. It's a really cool experience when you do your first business, at least for me. So I went to New York City and San Francisco. And then my second one was New York City because I had to go for a presentation. And the next one was also New York City and San Francisco. I've been to New York City probably like 10 times at this point.
Yep.
It felt like my city. I wanted to be here in my 20s.
Oh.
So I applied to see if I could go to New York City in February. Then COVID happened, and eventually like my transfer went a year later. Yeah.
Could you repeat that? You cut off a little.
Eventually, like so, I applied in February, like of 2020, but then COVID happened, so my transition had to be postponed. But I was able to transition a year later.
Would you
March.
say Google, like as a company, kind of like lets you work from anywhere? Like, if so, I heard this thing is like basically if you work at a team, you can show up to another office and work with them. Is that true or?
Well, it depends on the circumstances. Like, my team has we're a pretty distributed team. Where like my organization is in the Bay, New York City, and Munich. So and especially my direct team, New York City and Munich. So for me, it was really easy to justify traveling to New York City because like I gained a lot of seeing someone in person, and I still believe this. Like anytime I see someone in person for the first time, it's just they're just not a screen, you know. It's easier to communicate with them. Like even if afterwards you just talk to them online for a year,
Yep.
just having that first like meet up is nice. So you can justify it, and at least Google will pay for your trip to go to wherever your team is.
Yeah.
Like if you want to work from anywhere, like let's say you want to work from the Paris office, I can go into the Paris office. But like if there's no business need to go there, then like Google's not gonna pay for it. I can just go there.
Okay.
And yeah,
You can go there though.
yeah, I can. Like I can. I've done that before. I went to Paris. I'm like, you know what? I need to stay in Paris. Why not just take an Airbnb by the office and I'll just eat there instead? Yeah.
Oh yeah, because Google does have catered food, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's an interesting way of life, right?
It's very nice. I'm very fortunate. Like it was treated me.
And now we've caught up to where we are right now. So, is there any like huge plans coming up? You have any like actual life goals, like maybe starting a family or like long-term career growth? Like, what's it looking like for Jose in the future?
So I'll start with like in Munich, I graduated with 42K in debt. I wanted to pay it off ASAP.
Yep.
Sold, liquidated my stocks, and then I lived in a terrible like flat that was super like it was like 10 meters squared. It was super small. Like it was like the bed. It was really small. But I was able to get really cheap rent according to Munich standards, and I was putting in like 3K every month. Like my salary in Germany it's significantly less than it is in the States. I think it was like 4K. So like my rent was 800. So I was using 200 to like every month for like food or traveling or anything. I was really like focused on paying it off ASAP.
Yeah.
And then so like I'm debt free and I'm now in New York City. Like one of my goals, I've always been into this. Like when I was 18 years old, I created a blog. I put it down, but like I used it for many years. I think I was up for 5 years. Financial independence journey. I'm still trying to be financially independent. My net worth at this point is sorry, I'm gonna call you just my my net worth is 200K. I'm trying to like my lean fire goal is 1 million. My fire goal is 2 million. My
So
fat
lean
is
fire
five-
mean okay. So
Fine.
before we go too hard into this, fire means financial independence, retire early. Lean fire means that the least he can to get passive income that will support his lifestyle. So
Yeah.
basically, what he's saying is, at the very least, I need what was it? How much for lean fire?
1 million.
So you
1
need
million.
$1 million in, I guess, assets to sustain his way of life for the rest of his life, such that if he wants to quit, he can quit. Not saying that he will. It's just the power to, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like honestly, I'm in a super privileged position where like every day I wake up happy. I'm especially right nowadays. This is kind of hard to hear. Like I'm not trying to lie or because this is a podcast or anything.
Yep.
But I honestly every day I wake up happy. Like my boss is such a wonderful person, and he gives me the opportunities to like exceed in my job. He does, like I still get a very good work life balance. So I have absolutely no intentions to like change teams right now, or like or leave the company. But I do want to put myself in a position where like if for some reason like Google like fires me or something, I'm in a well off position. So
Yep. A lot of people overlook that. Yeah.
yeah, I still continue to my budget has increased, like my fund budget has increased now. But I'm still, if you compare me to anybody that's making my money, like the money I'm making, I'm still living way below my budget. Like
Yeah.
I'm just, I'll probably like, a normal person would be spending way more than I am right now.
Yep.
I spend like 1,000 a month for fun activities.
So yeah, and it's an important point to make because when you have a fire goal, financial independence, retire early goal, right? You have to live below your means, and that's like the number one thing they teach you, or no one really teaches you. You just kind of figure out that if you want to have a lifestyle that is extraordinary, you have to live below your means at least at the start, right?
Well, it's not just that. Like the way I live my lifestyle, it's just that's how I am as well. Like
Okay.
I don't gain much from buying expensive products like Louis Vuitton or something. Like and this might be a tech thing, but
Yeah.
and everyone's different. There can definitely be tech people that love it. But for me, like what makes me happy is very luckily, like outside of traveling and food. Like I don't have like I don't want I live in a studio and I'm super content with. Like my studio is very nice. Don't get me wrong. It's I think 28 meters squared. So it's man, I'm just super happy right now. And I'm investing at least 5K of my income every month. And then on top of that, I get my GSUs, which I basically just invest. GSUs is like my Google gives you like income, stock options,
Yep.
and then your yearly.
I want
stock
to
op-
ask. I mean, maybe this is in your contract, and you probably can't say, but like, is there a clause on those stocks like you can't really sell until like X time or something, or
Yeah,
can you
exactly.
liquidate whenever?
No, they don't vest. So like even if I wanted to, I can't do it. They don't vest until certain like for me it's every 3 months. Depending on how much you have, it could be every month. So for me, it's every 3 months. And then when they do vest, I can't sell until a certain time. Like let's say it's close to quarterly earnings, then I can't sell because that's considered insider trading.
Right, right.
Or
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
fair.
buy. Like basically anything with Google, I just don't buy, sell, short. I don't buy options. I don't do anything. I don't like. I
You
just
just
sell.
liquidate, right?
Yeah, I don't. I do keep my shares or sell them. Like I'm not telling you I'm keeping them right now, but like if I want to, I do that. But like I don't buy them. That's what I'm saying.
Do you have like a career goal inside of Google? Do you want to be like in what was the system L5L? Is that how it
Yeah.
works? Do you want to be
So
like
at Google,
yeah?
sorry, I started as an L3, which is like a new grad position. I'm now an L4, which is just a software engineer position. Um, the next step is senior, then staff, then blah 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 blah. For me, like it's nice. I do like have the goal to be L5, but it's not like my goal that I'm killing myself for it. I just want it to happen naturally. I'm not working excessive amounts. Like my Fridays are super easy. Like I I concentrate a lot Monday to Thursday. That way my Fridays are almost free. Like if I have to do any task, it'll take me a few hours, you know? Um, and that helps me with my work life balance because I'm really into like the 4-day work week. Um,
Yep. Pretty good book
and
if you're into that. Yeah.
yeah, and like so right now like I'm in a position where I'm investing, but I'm having a lot of fun. Like my birthday was recently. My girlfriend
Happy
invited me to a
birthday.
helicopter ride. That was a really cool experience. I went on the edge. I'm going to a Broadway show soon. So I'm still like
Living it up.
again, not everyone could do this, but I'm in a very lucky position where I can. And this is like something that I
Right,
got
but
through.
you did share like the steps you got towards it,
Yeah.
uh, and we'll hit up the final thing that I wanted to talk about is you did impart your wisdom, if you can say that, onto the rest of the students before you left, or was it after you left? You wrote a student guide, and how, while you didn't say that you could get to where you are, you said you could make the most of what your university career is, right? And I want to talk to you a little bit about your guide. I have like the bullet points up here. So for first year, you've you've emphasized grades, and I've noticed throughout the interview in the first few years you definitely emphasized grades, and then as like third, fourth year rolled around, you kind of stopped caring so much, and you also emphasize hackathons as well as learning like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? Would you still stand by this recommendation?
I still stand by it. It's like I'm gonna. Well, it depends what your goals are. If your goal is to get like a master's, PhD, you should definitely focus on grades. Like as like everyone's situation is. But for me, I wanted to get like a great job, like or be an entrepreneur. Like I also looked into the startup culture. Um, and that for me was just getting actual experience, especially like now, like even to this day, once you graduate, a lot of times, like let's say you're a 90 plus student or 60 plus student, once you graduate, like you can get the same job, and all of a sudden like you're on board, you know.
Yep.
Like the experience really helps a lot, I think, and it's also fun. It's fun doing all this stuff, you know.
Right. Okay. And in second year, you recommended a lot more stuff. So you'd push people to be a TA, an RA, so teaching assistant, research assistant, uh, hackathon still, student exchange, and finally an internship. These are all important goals to meet, especially like I mean, whether you want to do student exchange is up to you or not, but it's just recommended. Uh, can you tell me in order which ones are the most important between internships, hackathons, TA, and RA? Those four.
Uh, out of those, the internship, like, is the most important. Like it's something like that's you can have on your resume ASAP, right?
Yep.
And yeah, I'll say that's probably the most important. But like, it's really hard to land an internship without the others. Like they kind of build on top of each
Right.
other. Yeah, like, and then I'll say like it was teaching assistant, research assistant.
Hackathon.
It was hackathon, and then After that, I'd say, well, it depends on the circumstance you're in. If you don't have that many jobs yet, I still think the teaching job would be pretty good because, especially as a student, like, for example, one of the things I took advantage of was I'm getting paid this, but at the same time, I want to teach Java and data structures. So
Yeah.
I taught Java and data structures. By teaching Java, like I to this day I know Java super well,
Yeah.
and that's what I did my interviewing languages because you needed to know the language like and text really well during interviews, and then data structure just helps you like do the interview and so that teaching assistant is really advantageous in that sense. And then afterwards, I'd probably say research assistant. Teaching assistant and research assistant is very close. If you wanted to be like a master student, maybe be higher up. Research is very important, especially if you want to focus on something specific. And then the last thing is hackathon. But the thing I had most fun doing was the exchange. The exchange was definitely the most fun.
Okay. Okay.
Even though like it's not as important as the others,
Yeah.
like it 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 really contributed to like my growth as a person. I it's crazy how life grows. I used to go out so often now, like going out like clubbing isn't as important. I still do it barely, but nowhere near at the level I used to. And that's probably I probably do that because of my experiences. I've learned like it's just something that life continues, you grow, you know.
Yeah. Uh, also, just for help for people who are in university, so like if you're applying to jobs and you want to make it into big tech, what are like the key tips you would make, especially now in the modern day? Because I know a lot of stuff got more competitive between my time and yours. So, how would you distinguish yourself as an applicant?
Well, as an applicant, I really like what you're doing, creating a podcast. That you gotta make yourself unique, like this, like you're helping people, like you or a creative project. You gotta be creative, or
Yep.
like these are obviously it's kind of more competitive. I think computer science is
Yeah.
is very popular now.
Yeah.
Like at my time, no one really knew what it was. But yeah, just do things that distinguish you. You can create a podcast. You can create a project, obviously hackathon. But outside of those things, you can write Medium post articles about specific technologies you're learning.
Yep.
You can do a presentation, like instead of being like present some a knowledge you've taught or something.
Yep.
Um, like there's different ways of expressing yourself, I guess.
Right.
Um,
And would you say things like cover letters, things like cold emailing a recruiter, this stuff like helps, or like is it kind of a waste of time?
I haven't done it in I haven't applied for jobs in years at this point,
Yeah.
but I do think oh I don't know the difference between internship or full time. I think maybe cold calling would be advantageous. Recruiters a lot of time they want like even though there's a lot of jobs out there for us, like they do like feel that like contact them, like it's way easier for them to notice you if you contact them, you know, like in a resume you're just a name with skills, or in an application, but if you actually message them there's a way higher chance, I think. I also recommend you fill up your LinkedIn to be an all-star.
Yeah.
Higher chance of getting seen. um yeah, those are two things I think would be
Yeah,
advantageous.
and one thing we mentioned before and we should mention now is don't just apply to your co-op program, especially if you're in the University of Windsor. If you're in like
Yeah.
Waterloo or whatever, I guess it's different, but most universities are not Waterloo, and you should probably apply to as many places as possible. I'm not sure about if you want to apply to outside of Canada, but I mean it's worked out for Jose, so
Yeah. Uh, Something I recommend is intern.supply. It's a website I used to use. I think I referenced it in my paper.
yeah.
Intern.supply is a nice website where like some, I guess some student or someone put an entire list of a lot of tech companies. And I used to like I literally applied to every single job in international supply. It's like 200 plus companies.
Hmm.
Um,
You didn't really care about visas either. You didn't let that stuff stop you, right?
yeah, because if I like if the visas would stop me, I like at this point I landed the internship. You know, like it sucks. Don't get me wrong. Like it's if you land the job and you don't get the visa, that like people like everyone has in life is in a situation. I'm super fortunate where I have a Canadian passport and it's easier for me to get visas. But like even if you don't get the internship, at least you know you got the job. Or maybe in the future, you have this reference like, oh, I already got the job or something. You know,
Hmm.
like it's I still think it's worth it, but
Yep.
everyone has different mentality.
Okay. So we're heading towards the end. Is there anything important I missed? Anything you want to mention that I probably forgot?
Um, what else? Yeah, like something else I recommend like you if you can live your life. Like something I didn't mention was like after my first exchange, it was 6 months. I had 2 months off, and those 2 months I could have worked obviously, but I'm like I still got a little bit of money, and my friend he was in northern Alberta. Is like I called him like, hey, if I fly to Banff, will we do this awesome road trip? And we did. Me and him, we traveled for like 4 weeks across the Rockies. Like we went to Banff, Vancouver. We made it all the way to Las Vegas. We like visited all these national parks. We ended up spending like $500 probably each max. Like this is on gas, food, and everything, water. We only during the entire trip only one night that we slept in a hostel. Every other night we just camped. We cooked food. It just make your own adventures. You know, it's important to get your grades up and whatever, but I want you to enjoy your life. Like you only get one shot at it. Don't just focus on making money or like it's very important and stuff, but leave some space if you can for friends and family and for your own adventures. I think that's pretty important. Obviously, on top of everything else.
I forgot to mention. Do you have any plans for doing like a master's or an MBA or anything like that?
No, for me, I'm fine without it.
Yeah.
Google does offer like they if I take classes, I think they pay a third, or if it's something related to my work, they probably pay 100%. So I've thought of taking advantage of that, um, to learn things that I might be interested in. But a lot of the things I learned is to like developing in my position. I've also thought of taking maybe French classes. Uh, I've I've gained a lot of knowledge in French and I want to improve it, hopefully. But yeah, yeah. So far, like I've thought of taking other classes. Like I've also like I once did an airplane class too. And I bought a boating class too. I could just other things that keep me active. You know, just
Okay.
I'm happy with my knowledge in CS. I don't want to make that my life. It's fun and everything, but anything in excessive amounts, it burnout. It could be work. It could be partying. It could be traveling. If you travel excessive amounts every day, you're going to different places. You're gonna burn out. So yeah, for me, I learn other things outside of your science.
Right.
But I also continue learning at work. Every day I'm learning.
Yep. Such is the job, honestly. So anything to shout out? Any person, anything that you want to like promote, advertise, shout out?
My family, they like they gave me the opportunities where like they immigrated to Canada. Like even though like they just gave me the opportunity. Like in Colombia, it's a lot harder. Like to get this, even just getting a visa. You know, like so I was very fortunate to be in Canada. Um, I'll say my girlfriend, like we've been together for 4 years now. We did long distance and everything, and my dog just because he's a fun little joy.
Okay.
And actually, before I forget, all the professors like and secretaries at Windsor, they were very like even don't get me wrong, like some professors weren't useful, but like Margaret was so nice to me, and Dr. Kant. Sin was not nice to me, but he was strict. Um, and because he was strict, like those problem solving skills you gain, like they don't look like they transition. but you learn how to problem solve, which is very useful.
Okay.
So I'm thankful for my and the University of Windsor, because like even if I like with my knowledge right now, if I could go to Waterloo, I like if I could repeat my entire experience or go to Waterloo, I would just repeat my experience because my university experience was so much fun, so much fun. Like Waterloo gives you a better chance of getting these jobs. Don't get me wrong, they have higher connections and stuff like that, but a lot of people there are like it's because their coursework is a lot harder, so they're forced to learn a lot of these concepts, and like they're forced to create these projects. So you can go out of your way to teach this stuff, and maybe get the job. Like maybe you can do what I did, but at the same time, like you don't have to. And I guess I just like I don't know anybody that did 2 exchanges, or did anything like that. You know, I like even I have a lot of friends from Waterloo, and they I'm not gonna say they're sad, but like it's a very strict time, you know.
Okay.
So like enjoy the moment, and we're like University of Windsor, like the computer science faculty is small. We help each other, and like definitely talk to like higher ups. They're very like I like Michelle if you want to do it an exchange. Margaret, anything science, obviously computer science society. Want to learn about CS because they're teaching you things how to get the job.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Dr. Kopti, like just even if they don't help you, you at least try. You never know. So those are my references.
Okay. Well, anyways, thanks for coming on. It's been like this is the longest episode we've ever had at this point, and I feel like I keep saying that every episode, but every guest is very interesting in their own way. Thanks, Jose, for showing up. I know a lot of people are interested in seeing this, and I mean that's it. We'll see you in another 2 weeks with the next episode.
All right. Thank you very much.